Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So in today's video I'm going to be doing my first proper greenhouse tour of the year. And I've done like a couple of other kind of things, but I'm going to start doing them monthly again now, so this one will be for my March one. So as the weather's getting warmer, unfortunately the weather isn't actually that warm today. We've had some really nice sunny days over the last week or so, but I haven't been able to even be out in the greenhouse to be out here to enjoy it. So I've been able to come out here now and it isn't the warmest weather, but I thought it'd be nice to show everything in the greenhouse. So I've just quickly had a look at the Sarracenia because this is the first time I've been here for a while, and I saw that a lot of Sarracenia are starting to flower, which is really exciting because last year I only had 6, and my main kind of goal for last year was to make my own Sarracenia hybrids, which I wasn't really able to do with 6, and I didn't really have a great variety of them. So far I've already counted 6 flowers off of completely different plants. So those 6 plus the 6 I'm guessing from last year as well already makes about 12. So that's great, and it's just something that I'll be able to show. Plus I've managed to finally repot everything into square pots, so practically everything now that I want to be is in the square pots. They fit really nicely in the trays, and I think it would just be a great video just to see how everything's doing as it's coming out of dormancy. So I'm going to start over this side, and as you can see I have now put all of my flytrap cultivars into the 8.5 centimetre square pots. So I was originally going to leave the smaller ones, like my green wizard, maybe even the B52, but they've got really long root systems, so to make it look a lot tidier, and I think it does look like a great display, I've put them all in the same size pots. So it'd be great to see, especially when they're all in the full growing season. I think they'll mingle quite well together. So I'll give a quick rundown. So at the back is my bristle tooth, which I still actually haven't, I was going to bring it up further because as you can see it's quite buried, and it's got a little division there, so I might still repot that one, but it'll be in the same size pot. I've got my bridge piranha there. So as you can see the fly traps haven't really done much. They have, some of them have got some new traps, which you can see here, but a lot of them are still in their very much dormant state. Cup traps are here. My Beastie Boy is still looking magnificent. These traps it's kept all winter, and you can see they're really lovely sizes. My phalanx with its little baby, I actually got 4 little babies out of the phalanx, but a couple of them I gave away and did plant swaps with, so that's what I've got left. Obviously my main adult is my favourite one. So I got these ones which I recently got, which is this one's the Giant Sands, which is my freebie that I got, and as you can see it's looking really nice. My dentate has got like the first long PTL out of all of them. Really at the moment most of them are laying down, but my lovely dentate has got this nice upstanding PTL, which is quite hard because it's not really focusing. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it to focus. Oh, there. So really nice teeth on the dentate. My fuse tooth actually looks really nice in a bigger pot compared to the small pot it was in, so it will definitely be able to fill this up completely. My Mega Traps hasn't really done much either, isn't looking as great potted up, but it'd be a nice one to grow, see if it actually gets some size this year because it hadn't last year. My Darwin, which I'm expecting big things from this year as it didn't really get up to size last year considering it was only a young plant, but as you can see it's already got its first leaf and it's looking a lot bigger in size, especially being in a bigger pot. My green sawtooth here, so I wasn't really sure to put it in the big pot either because this one's really small, but it's already got a few leaves coming and it had a really nice long root system, really healthy, and it actually does look quite nice. It'll fill up this pot really beautifully. My D6L, which I was really excited to get hold of, is looking great. These originally were in smaller pots, but I repotted them again, and as you can see they've started to get their new leaves as well. My B52 here, as you can see it's only a tiny little plant with only a little bit of new leaves coming, so at least it's got some new leaves coming. Very small plant now, but again it had a really nice long root system, quite nice big rhizomes, so I'm expecting again big things from this year as well. My yellow fuse tooth, the best kind of look because the pot it was in before didn't really show its full size, especially as it's quite crowded being in a really small 7 centimetre pot. So it's looking really nice now. It's actually able to lay out its traps, and you can see the really nice yellow colour compared to the other cultivars I've got here. And then finally my tiny little green wizard, even though it looks quite small in this big pot, has got some really nice size, and again a few new traps coming, so I think it will definitely fill out all these pots really well. But as you can see it looks just as a nice collection overall of all the cultivars. So next I will show all of my Drosera, So at the back here I've got some of my Bonatas. So that's a typical Bonata at the back there, which hasn't yet shown any signs coming out of dormancy, compared to my Drosera Bonata var Dictoma, which you can see here amongst all the old dead leaves. I've got all the new growth of this year. So once again, these are going to be absolutely huge. This was the biggest display. If anybody's seen any of my previous videos of them last summer, they were absolutely huge. And especially this plant, this was my biggest plant. And as you can see, even the ones that are in small pots are going to have a great display. There's so many different plants in there, but I don't necessarily like dividing them as much because I have no space for them. So my filiformis, I've actually got two filiformis. This one's always looked better than the other one. The other one goes a little bit more looking dead than this one. This one's got like really nice healthy hibernacula when it dies down for the winter, compared to this one, which you can see has a more of a larger looking like rotted area. And I've had this one for 3 years now, and it's always looked the same compared to this one I've had for 2 years, and has always had such a nice healthy hibernacula. I think it's just different places where I've got them from, but either way, both coming out of dormancy now. And for anybody who has got a filiformis in dormancy, this is what they should start looking like when they start coming out of it. So other bits and bobs of Drosera I've got. So I've got some Capensis at the back here. So even though Capensis are subtropical, I keep everything outside of my greenhouse, and they will die back down to the roots, or in some cases the actual main plant will come back and it will start looking like this. So I've got multiple Capensis in all of my pots. So there's a big pot of Capensis here, and as you can see, these two main plants are coming back, and this one at the back, it's got a little bit of growth there just coming out the middle. So these are the hardiest, easiest plants. They're amazing starter plants, and I keep them out here every year, and they always come back just fine, because Capensis is known as the unkillable Sundew. They are very hard to kill, and they usually come back from anything. So this is actually one of my older pots of Scorpioides, which are the ones I collected as Gamete of this year, and they didn't die off at all. If anything, they're actually getting their dew back now, and these are definitely my favourite pygmy Sundews, and as you can see, they're already looking really beautiful with their lovely dew on them. So I've got a couple of rough looking Alisiae in here as well, but like the Capensis, they will either die down or they'll start coming back, so all these plants will eventually start making new leaves. You can already see a couple new leaves coming from the centre of this plant here. So this is one of my newest Drosera, which is the Venusa, and it's still got some dew on there. Again, I've kept this one in here since I've brought it, so it isn't looking as magnificent as I got it, but it's still looking great, and it's got some newer leaves coming as well, especially as the weather's warming up. You can see all the dew that's started to be gained on all the plants. So more of the Dictoma here, and as you can see, got new leaves coming. A few of my other temperate Drosera include the common Drosera Bonata, the Drosera rotundifolia. So as you can see, they haven't started showing any signs coming out of dormancy either, but they've got really nice big healthy hibernaculars. I've taken a few of these out because I did have another pot of these, and they've come up in a few other pots from plants that I've brought online, and I've used them to put outside in one of my bog planters, because I redid one of them that wasn't looking great, the one that took all the Sarracenia out, and I'll hopefully include that in a future video. So these two pots here are my Drosera anglica. So these are all the anglica babies. So you can see they are starting to come out. You can see from the hibernaculars here. And then this is my main plant, which I took seeds from as well. So hopefully the pots of seeds will start coming up soon as well. So I have a lot more of these this year as well. So here we have some odd flytrap like from seeds. So these are some that I sowed in 2019. So as you can see, that flytraps from seed are very slow growing as they are. And I've got another one here. These are red fine tooth cross seeds, so you can see a bit of the red coloration in them, but they've gone mainly green. So hopefully they'll show a little bit of difference. Again, they're very slow growing, haven't really done much for me compared to the ones that I have done from flower stalk pulling. So these are my flower stalk pulling ones. This is their second year, and you can see they've got such amazing colour. And then see, these are some more seed grown ones, which I also sowed in 2019. And they're looking a bit bigger, and they've got some bigger traps. Some really nice variation amongst these seedlings. So I've got a pot of Uticulari here. This is my Sarracenia. Got my Black Widow cross seeds, which I did sow just before winter, and have now started coming up. More Bonata Dictoma, so I've got another 1 litre pot full of this, so which can be just a massive clump of this year, and I'm going to have nowhere to put it. just some more like odd pots of like typical fly traps and more Capensis. Then moving on to my Temperate Pinguicula. So this is my newest cultivar of Temperate Pinguicula, which is the Pinguicula I Spy. And this one, it looks like a really nice cultivar. So as you can see at the back here, it's got a few new leaves coming. You can see where the bud is slowly starting to form new leaves, but nothing, you know, overly dramatic yet. Got a few like pots of it with Gamier and odd Hibernaculars. Have been taking all these out of the bog barrels and sowing them. So I've got multiple pots full. There's a tray of Hibernaculars there that I did in a previous video, and you can see actually these are probably better to look at. You can see here that the leaves have started to open from the buds, or they're Hibernacular, so they're looking a lot more awake than some of the larger and older Hibernaculars. So this is my Pinguicula grandiflora, one of my main Hibernaculars, which I have yet to put outside in the bog barrels, and you can see that's a little bit more ahead of some of the others that I've got in here. So there's another one just over here with some loads of Gamier still, so I still need to move or sow some of that Gamier. So I've got multiple pots of that just scattered around at the moment, which I still need to do stuff with. Then finally my bog barrels. So my Sundew cottage is looking lovely, especially with all that moss, so all the moss spores that grow in it this time of year. It's a really nice display. Obviously the moss can be quite problematic, so I've got quite a lot of pygmy Sundews and smaller Dormancy in here, so they're eventually going to get covered, but it is a really lovely display nonetheless. And a lot of people seem to like this planter, especially with all the Sundews that obviously coat the hill and around. Hopefully it will produce a really nice shining display this year, as I've sown a lot of pygmy Sundew Gamier amongst all the moss here. I don't know if it's going to grow, as this moss has got quite big quite quickly, but I'll see what comes up and it'll look really nice. So my bird bog planter, it's quite basic, and actually I think the moss has become very problematic in here, because I had some Uticularia at the back, which is still there. You can still see amongst all that there is some leaves of the Uticularia, but it is quite problematic in the moss. It is very thick, so if I take this bird out, you can see how thick that moss is in there. Then finally my bunny bog planter, which is yet to show any magnificent display as it always usually possesses, but I replanted it, hence why they look like this, because they were very buried, and that's why the petioles are quite curved. But you can see there's new leaves coming on all of the plants now, which is great. And I did obviously the bunny warren. This bog was basically now to focus on the magnificent typical fly traps, which have the really dark red traps, rather than having all other bits in here. So I've planted a couple of Drosera still though, there's still some Capensis behind here, and I did loads of Utricularia all around the back here as well. So it will hopefully promises to look really nice this year as well. So just a quick look at some of my subtropical pygmy Sundews. So I've got my Pulchella cross Nitisula in here, which I've got a couple of pots of this, and as you can see they're starting to get their dew a bit more now. So looking quite happy, especially being out here with the amount of sun we had in the last week. They're looking a lot better and getting all the leaves. Obviously some still further behind as the weather warms up. The Pulchella cross are doing absolutely amazing. This pot is probably the best example that I've got, and there is a lot in there. But you can still see that they're still, a lot of them are waiting to get their dew. I've got some of the Drosera cross. I did a few experiment crosses with like Spatulata, Capensis, Aliciae and all that. And at the moment they're just looking very much like a Capensis, but I have yet to divide them up, because you can see it's just a nice mass of dew at the moment. So a few more pots in here, but you can still see in here actually the Occidentalis are looking a lot better. You can see they're all spread out here, very small. There is actually quite a few in here. So just waiting for the others ready to come out, and hopefully it'll be a lot better once obviously they've all got their dew on this. More something to see there. And my old, well I say old, they're still going and they're still alive, is my pygmy Sundew planter with all the Pulchella crosses in here. So some of them still got Gamier on that I just never sow, and some of these are starting to get their dew back actually, which I was quite surprised about. Obviously some like this Rosanna here have died down completely, because some do, and I found out some of them just like stay on for another year. Then finally the side that I am probably most excited to show in a greenhouse tour, and I always have been, is my mass of Sarracenias as it were. So I've actually got the large tray, so I just went for one of these. I'm probably going to get something at the back, but for now I just went for one of these because I was at a garden centre and I was able to get one quite cheap, as it was on offer. So I got that and I was quite happy with it. So I just got this temporary until I get something larger, because it just fits all of the Sarracenias on, and it's got space for more if I buy a few more, which I'm hoping to very soon. So the only one I would say has probably got its like proper trap on is my Sarracenia leucophila Baldwin still. So it's still got that. I'll probably cut it down soon because a lot of them are already producing new pictures, so it's just going to be an old one amongst all the new ones. Also got my typical flava here, which has still got pictures on, as well as my Elata black tube. Oh, and my leucophila Tarnock as well has still got, but I think the most impressive and the most interesting thing to look at is actually the rhizomes right now. So if I go down and just start showing you the things that are more closest to the soil, you'll be able to see what I've potted up and what's looking great. So my Sarracenia purpureas always produce such a nice dark colour this time of year. So you can see, especially with the moss, it's such a nice contrast, and this little purpurea is lovely. So I've repotted a few things. So as you can see, some have got really nice large rhizomes. So I repotted this Wilkinson's White Knight cross Oreophylla, had a massive huge rhizome, and it's just stunning. So I think a lot of stuff is going to flower this year because of the size of the rhizomes that they've managed to create. So my Lindabar, I was going to divide this and I was nearly going to make a video out of it, but I've decided to keep it. There's 6 rhizomes, so each plant point has 2 rhizomes. So one main one at the top with a little one accompanying the bottom here. So this plant has a total of 6 rhizomes on, and I thought it would make a really nice display because last year it had 3 rhizomes, which made a really nice mass full of pictures really. So I think this year will look even better, but it's now in a bigger pot and I'll probably divide it next year. So now onto flowers. So I can't actually remember all the flowers I've got here, but I'll point out the ones I can see. So this is one of my newest plants, which I got in my Hewitt Cooper order, which is my Sarracenia flava varieties, which is the Sandy Creek one. And as you can see, it's got a nice little flower there. Over here, my Sarracenia rubicorpora, which was one that did flower last year, has got flower. And the one that I think was most excited to flower, because I really wanted it to flower last year and I thought it wouldn't, it never did, was my Sarracenia flava Adrian Slacks Maxima. So it's only the beginning of the flower, but you can still see it there from the rounded bud that's in between the, start of the rhizome there. And I was very excited. I only noticed that just before I'm making this video. So there's a few others that I've got here. So my Tiger, which is its first year of flowering. Got my all green Sarracenia Maxima, or Flava Maxima here, which has got a flower bud just there. And there's a few others which I think are at the back, and ones that I'll probably be able to see. So my Leucophila has flowers, it's got a really nice big rhizome there. And ones like a little bit like the Joanna at the back, as you can see amongst all those leaves, there's a really huge rhizome. And I'm expecting quite a few actually to flower this year, which I was super excited about to see, especially as I want a lot of flowers this year and able to create more hybrids than last year. As I said before, I only had 6. So this year I'm hoping for a good at least 10 to flower. But I've seen quite a few so far. I've lost quite a few of them so far already. But I'll definitely keep you obviously updated in the next month's greenhouse video to show you the flowers. I will, however, end on this side of the greenhouse with probably a badder note. This is my Drosera regia, which unfortunately is not looking great and has completely rotted off. That is just a rotted piece of stem, and I was absolutely gutted. So it looked quite well to begin with. It produced I know they are subtropical anyway, so they don't necessarily have the dormancy period, but I know that they can produce like a kind of hibernacular resting bud, which and then they come back from the roots, or they can come back from that resting bud. However, all that snow and icy weather we had, this was frozen for a few days, as well as that it had botrytis. But that's all gone now, and I have put it back in here amongst the others in hope that it will come back from the roots. So it had a really nice healthy root system, and I'm hoping that they will come back. I know they can, but I'm just really waiting on it. But it's not looking great at the moment, but it's not the end, hopefully. If it is, I'll definitely go out and buy one. So I was very gutted to begin with, but I have got like my fingers crossed that it will come back. So I thought whilst I was out here I would show the floor of my greenhouse, which has my Sarracenia leucophila cross Morii seedlings, the ones that I did my feed or fertilising experiments on. And this is their first dormancy outside as well, which you can see here. Some of them have gone quite dormant. None of the pictures have really died down, and I'm yet to tidy / cut them back, which I will do before they start growing new pictures, but I just haven't had the time yet. But I thought it'd be nice just to show them as a whole, so you can see different. They've started to show different variation amongst the seedlings now. Some have got some really nice green pictures, while others have got more defined lips, which is quite nice to look at. But I thought I'd just go through the trays. There's not really much variation from the original experiment in the trays, but they're all different and they're looking quite nice. They look nice as a mass. As you can see, some of them got really big, still got some that are really quite small. So it'd be nice to show, I think, an update video just on these. Actually, I might do, just to see once they start coming out of dormancy, because hopefully this year they will show a lot more height and colour than they did last year. I've also sown half, I would say this is, of my own crosses that I did last year. I sowed these outside and they have remained out here all winter, well, since January at least. So they are just going through their stratification. Hopefully they'll start coming up when the weather gets even warmer. And then the other half I'm doing via the fridge stratification method, which I'm still yet to sow those, but hopefully I'll do those when I next find time. So that was a quick overview of everything I've mainly got in the greenhouse. So just the stuff that's worth pointing out. I've shown you everything I would say is probably the main part of my greenhouse. I have a couple of other like seedlings and bits which are exactly the same as I've shown before, and at the moment they're just kind of empty pots. So that's the only thing I would say I've left out from the greenhouse tour, and I have a few times. But once everything comes back there'll be a lot more to show. But I've picked out the main best things for this March video. Considering there is a lot of stuff to start be looking at, and it'll be interesting to see in a month's time everything come out, because by then all the Sarracenia pictures will likely have pictures, and all the fly traps as well will have start getting again their new leaves and colour and sizes. So it'll be really nice to keep seeing that progression update, and I really hope people enjoy those videos. So thank you very much for watching, and I really hope you have a nice day.